If we want to take a good photograph, then before pressing the shutter button, we need to create a good composition. If I'm out in a workshop trying to help someone with their photography, or I'm out taking photographs myself and I watch other photographers taking photographs, then there are two very common mistakes that I see being made regarding composition. Now, not everyone will make these mistakes, but I believe they are very common for beginner photographers, and even much more experienced photographers can slip back into at least one of these mistakes from time to time. So let's jump on location. I've got two fellow photographers with me to help demonstrate these mistakes. Then we'll talk about this in a lot more detail and discuss what we really should be trying to do when setting up our compositions in order to take better photographs. So this is a great day to be out. This looks quite good here. It's quite a nice view. Oh wow, look at that mountain there. That has got to be a good photograph. I'm really pleased with that. That's fantastic. It's been a while since I've captured a good photograph, but today I'm determined to put that right. I really want to get something nice and frame it up on the wall, a nice print, something I'm proud at. And looking behind me, I think I might be able to do that just here, but I've been doing photography for a while now, so I know not to just snap what's in front of me. I'm going to have a look around here, and I'm going to be aligning this mountain nicely, and I think this is a spot really, so I know not to get the tripod out until I've got the spot I want to photograph from. And this is a spot, and I'll get my tripod here, get the camera set up, and I can just tell this is going to look fantastic once I get it printed and up on the wall. So let me compose the shot, focus, and that's going to look fantastic. I am really pleased with that one. So looking at those two photographers, were you able to spot what I consider to be the two most common mistakes people make when taking a photograph? The first photographer saw a scene that he liked. He really liked what was in front of him. He just wanted to take a photograph, and he just pressed the shutter button, raised the camera at his eye and pressed the shutter button. He didn't move around. He paid no attention to composition. The second photographer was a bit more experienced. He moved around, he tried to set up a good composition, but the mistake that he made, very similar to a mistake that the first photographer made, is he shot at eye level. I see so many people shooting at eye level for every scene. Now sometimes that will be the correct level to have your camera at, but at other times you may even want your camera higher, or you may want it much lower. Moving your camera up and down can dramatically affect your composition, and I'm going to demonstrate some of that in just a second. But the other thing is, it's not just small movements left, right and up and down that you need to make. For example, if you're photographing a tree and the tree is the main feature in your photograph, and you're able to do so, do a 360 walk all around the tree, look at it from different angles. You maybe thought it was nice from one side, but once you go around to the opposite side, it may look even better. For other things, such as if you are photographing a mountain off in the distance, it may look spectacular and you may want to get your telephoto lens on and take the shot, and there's nothing wrong with that. But also consider what happens if you move 30 yards to the right. Perhaps there's a really nice tree that you could incorporate in your foreground with the mountain in the background. So it's not all just about small movements of the camera left, right and up and down in your tripod or handheld. It's also moving yourself small amounts, but sometimes significant distances as well, to capture what first caught your interest, but just in a better composition. So let's have a look at a few video clips to demonstrate. So what we're wanting to do as photographers, when we create a composition, we want to get that composition as good as possible. And we need to make movements left, right, up and down. They may be large movements, they may be very, very small movements of a few millimeters, but we're trying to get all the pieces of the puzzle aligned nicely together to create an end result which is as pleasing and natural looking as possible for the viewer. So let me show you some video at the moment. I'll give you an example of what I'm considering for this scene. The video exposure won't be perfect, but it'll give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So what I've been trying to do when I've been setting up this composition is pay attention to various elements. I've wanted to make sure that as much as is possible, a fair amount of this tree is above the mountain here. And I'm trying to make sure that the peak is nicely positioned between these two branches here. I don't want one of them obscuring the viewer's eye when they're looking at the peak in the photograph. I've also been trying to show a nice bit of water here, this little V shape, and these trees here and this triangle of trees in the distance, I want to make sure there's a gap between those. I don't want those crossing over because it's not going to be a very pleasing effect to the viewer. Now if I move the camera, just see what happens to the composition. And obviously if I was to move away to the left, then elements such as the gap that I spoke about here will begin to close and nothing will align as nicely as it did before. So hopefully you can see how these very small movements significantly affect a composition and the end result and how satisfied you will be with the final photograph. So it was very difficult for me to see the rear LCD as I was recording those clips, and due to the positioning of my tripod it was nearly impossible to look through the viewfinder, but hopefully as a viewer you could get an idea of what I'm trying to demonstrate and how these very small adjustments and movements of your camera, left, right, up or down, can have a significant effect on your photograph. It can transform something from being an okay photograph into one of your best, one of the best photographs that you've ever taken. So definitely consider this the next time you're out doing some photography. Really study what's in front of you. If you see something you think's got potential, take your time and set up the composition as best you can, and I'm sure you'll get better results. As always, I hope you've enjoyed watching and perhaps gotten something useful to use in your own photography out of this video. If you have, then please take a second to give the video a thumbs up. It really helps me and I do appreciate it. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, then do consider subscribing. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you in my next one.